Hey friends, it's me, Frenny, aka Frenny,
And it's Slappa.
and this is Vibes and Delights. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This is the last day of Pride. Well, it will be by the time y'all hear this. And I wanted to do it a little different. We took a week off last week simply, but just I don't know, like it was like the week before my Red Wars began, and then it was just I didn't want to do anything. I didn't. So I didn't. But this week we've been having a good time telling some good long ass stories, and we're gonna read one of those stories today. But mostly we're gonna have a discussion. I just kind of wanted to vibe with y'all. So grab them things, grab them vibes and those fucking delights. Let's have a discussion. So I wanted to, like I said, I just didn't really feel good last week, but I wanted to talk about Juneteenth because Juneteenth is really important to me. Juneteenth was actually last, I think it was Monday, but I don't know how to use the calendar on my computer. Yeah, it was
It
last
was
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah. But like and they we I did my makeup really good for work, which was the prior week, and then I did another cute makeup look for my story time. And then I also reshared a story, or not a story, it's my story on Tickle Talk. So I just like really enjoy Juneteenth. I really love learning. I love just talking about some of my favoriteest childhood memories. And I just mostly just kind of want to talk about that. So um let's talk about Juneteenth. Let's talk about these childhood memories. Let's talk about the history, and let's talk about the celebrations and libations. And then we'll read one story for the end of Pride just to close out Pride. So, what do you know about Juneteenth, baby?
It's like the day that they finally told the last enslaved people in Texas, I think.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Thank you. You're so good. I love you. Well, you ought to know shit, man. My family. But like, so a general explanation of Juneteenth is definitely going to be that that is the official day that all humans in America were free. That's essentially like the long and the short of it, right? So I in Texas, in Galveston specifically, they throw huge like celebrations. And I like remember I was happening through Galveston when I was like a young adult, right? And I remember I driving through Galveston. I think we were going to the port, or we could have possibly we were doing something anyway, but we were only driving through. But I saw the decorations. I saw the decorations. They were getting ready for a parade. And I was like, how come we don't do it like this in Dallas? You know what I'm saying? But like also we kind of did. It was just on a lower scale. You know what I'm saying? Like we had big ass parades, but they were so obscure. Like as a child, I remember growing up in Carrollton, Texas, right? And I remember um I remember being so excited because my dad had a best friend, and his best and my dad was like mad popular. Like, I mean, look at me. Like it's so funny to me how I'm so much like my dad. Like everybody loved my father. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, my bad. I hit the thing. Anyway, but everybody loved my dad. And so everybody was always ready for a Charles party. Yes, my dad's name is Charles, much like our son. Yes, and I did ask Flappa for permission to name our son as such in memory of my father. But anyway, but everybody wanted to go to a Charles party because daddy always had the food, the tunes, the fucking cool kids like me, you know what I'm saying? But also, daddy just could create an atmosphere, and he was absolutely the life of the party. And I feel like a lot like him in that aspect, you know, like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but maybe a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But basically my dad would get with his local friends who were also local business owners, and they would like put together a party. So Grapevine Lake is, in Grapevine. um they would rent out like a larger pavilion, and then they would invite everybody, coordinate, and people would just show up and start cooking. People would start bringing their crafts, their jewelry, their shirts, their business cards for, they do hair, whatever the case may be. They brought their business, and they like tried to get new customers and stuff. And it wasn't no like 2-bit event either. Like, I'm talking about 50, 60 people would show up. And like, I don't know about y'all, like, something that I always say, like, in reference to people who complain that they don't get so many views on TikTok or on YouTube or on any sort of social media platform where there's a video. Oh, I only got 10 views. Oh, I only got 60 views. You know what I mean? Imagine having 60 people around you at this very second. Okay. Like, that is not a small amount of people, and you should keep that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, in the aspect of like the ebb and flow of creativity, and how, it's like literally like a current. Like, sometimes you're booming and sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's a crest and a fall. You know what I'm saying? Crestfall, wait, is that the same word? I don't know. Anyway, but like but like all I'm saying is that, like, that is not a small party for my dad to have just organized by himself, and people fucking showed up. And then people would tell their people, because you know how it is, who all over there, you know what I'm saying, who all over there, they start bringing their friends, and their friends, like, late into the night, they start really, starting a party. As kids, I think my mom came and picked us up around, like, my mom would get there early, like around 3 to 5. We would stay a little longer, and then my mom would take us home, and my dad and his friends would party, and he would come home eventually. You know what I'm saying? But it was just such good fond memories. And then, like, somebody, I was talking about fish on a stick. I had mentioned it in my Juneteenth video, where I was just reminiscing on like the black joy that is Juneteenth in the 90s. And I was talking about fish on a stick. Like, my dad had a best friend. Listen, y'all, there is tea here. It's fucked up, but there's some tea here. Okay, listen. My dad had a best friend named Herbert, and he used to cheat on his wife constantly, constantly, to the point where my mom hated him. He hated being around him. He hated my dad being, she hated, sorry, my dad being around him, because he would always get them into some fuck shit. And then my mom would have to go and get him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but that man, even though he was the worst kind of toxic man, made some fucking food, y'all. Like, oh my gosh, this man could cook. Like, you ever heard the expression, oh, they put their foot in it? Man, he put his ankle, his shin, his kneecaps, like, he put everything in there. Like, he could cook his ass off. Too bad he was such a piece of shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, I say there was some tea there because, like, it's just so sad, honestly. Because, like, the wife was so not okay with any feminine sounding person calling the house. I remember I was 17 or 18 years old or something like that, and I was getting ready to graduate. I was probably 17, because you have to send out the invitations and stuff the year prior and shit. So, like, I was probably 17 years old, and I had my mom's, what is it called? What's that big binder she has?
Rolodex.
No, she definitely had one of those, but what was it called? The Franklin, the bit a Franklin, for y'all who don't know or didn't have like fucking boomer parents. Like, my mom had a Rolodex, which is like essentially, like, think of cards, like a 3x5, like maybe a little smaller than that, honestly, a lot smaller. and they're on like a wheel essentially, and you turn and it's like covered, so it's like you open it and close it, kind of like a bread box, I guess. Like it's got like the sliding cover, you know what I'm saying? Some of them do. And it has a twisty thing on the side so that it'll spin the cards. That's what a Rolodex is, right? And you would just like put them in alphabetical order or in the order that you needed them most, right? There's also a Franklin. A Franklin is basically a binder where it's just like your phone contacts. Like you can put email addresses, fax numbers, phone numbers, names, addresses, all the things. Anything that's in your contact list on your phone is basically what a Franklin is. Businesses, people, birthdays, it doesn't matter. But my mom, I guess, like I was kind of like a upscale middle class kid, you know what I'm saying? My dad made a lot of good money, and like my mom spent hella bucks on these damn Franklins every single year. I even had one at one point. I hated it. My mom wanted me to keep up with that shit, and I was like, I have technology. Well, anyway, the reason I brought it up is because my mom handed me her Rolodex and her Franklin so that I can call relatives and essentially be like, hey, how are ya? I'm getting ready to graduate. You know what I'm saying? And I had to call them and get their information so I could send them an invitation, etc. And they knew where to send me a gift if they couldn't come. You know what I mean? And so I didn't realize my parents have been forcing me to do like talk on the phone and shit my whole life. We were big on phone etiquette anyway, regardless. So I was going through the Rolodex and the Franklin, and I was calling my family members and family friends explaining, hi, this is me, Charles's daughter, Charles's youngest. I'm about to graduate. I just was hoping I could invite you. Can I get your address, so I can send you an invitation and shit like that. And I remember specifically calling Herbert. His wife answers the phone, and I was like, hi, Miss whatever her name is, you know what I'm saying? How are you? My name is Frenny. How are you? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, who the hell is this? And I was like, whoa. She was like, who the fuck is calling my husband's phone? And I was like, I'm Charles's daughter. I just started panicking. You know what I mean? And she was like, who? Oh, hey, babe. And I was like, babe, bitch, what the fuck? You just literally were about to accuse me of cheating with your fucking old ass husband. You know what I'm saying?
Old ass husband.
Old ass husband, bro. Like, and then, but so like, I remember she hated feminine callers, right? So I would call and like help my dad coordinate, you know what I'm saying? I would call for my graduation, you know what I'm saying? And then the last time I called was for my dad's funeral. And I called and I was like, hey, Miss, again, I can't recall that woman's name to save my life. But anyway, hey, Miss Herbert, this is Fernie again, or like Fernie, Charles's daughter. And I just am calling with some really horrific news. And she was like, she laid into me. She was like, do you know what time it is? Blah, 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 blah. Like, she cut me the fuck off. She was like, I don't care who the fuck you are. She cussed me the fuck out. I started crying. And I was like, I just wanted to tell you that my dad, Charles, died. Okay. I just wanted to tell you where the funeral was. I don't need this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was 22 at that point. You know what I'm saying? And then she was like, wait, who? Who is calling again? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is calling? While she straight up cussing me out and shit. And I was like, I am Frenny, my full name. I am Frenny. My dad is Charles. He just died. I was trying to give you funeral arrangement information, or at least my contact information, but you're fucking screaming at me and I can't deal with that right now. And then my mom took the phone from me and she was just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And I started to fucking bawl, you know what I'm saying? And I just went upstairs and nobody fucked with me until the day of the funeral, really, or until it was time to go dress shopping. But like, that's the kind of relationship they had. But damn, did that man know how to fucking cook? What do you got to say about that, baby?
Nothing. Jesus Christ. Sorry you went through that.
She was absolute miserable. I don't even blame her. You know what I'm saying? It's obviously it's a product of the relationship, but at the same time, knowing what I know now, I would have never. You know what I
You
mean?
can blame her.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna blame her a little bit because she did not have to stay, but she did, and I don't know why. It was obvious she was miserable, you know. But I think he did honestly bring in kind of like hella bucks because one thing he did have, much like my father, was an idea. You know what I'm saying? He knew how to make money in a pinch and he knew how to network. You know what I'm saying? And I think she honestly stayed because everybody loved him, even though they knew what a terrible shit bag of a person he was. But they also probably stayed around because that fool was him, bro. You know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, is a few seconds of delectable delights worth it? I don't know. But anyway, somebody also asked, what is fish on a stick? It's literally just like a skewer, like a shish kebab kind of situation, like a wooden one. And he would stick the fillet through it, like, you know, through the middle of the fillet, through the stick and like kind of wrap it or like, you know, what do you call it? Zigzag accordion style, you know what I'm saying? And then stretch it out across the whole stick. And then he would I don't know what he put in his batter. I know it was a cornmeal based batter, but holy jeez, it was so good. The way he seasoned that fucking batter, it was delightful. I just can't even explain to you guys like how much I like didn't realize that I was gonna miss that food, you know. But it's really not worth it. But anyway, but yeah. So anyway, my dad used to get with Herbert and throw massive celebrations in which people would absolutely turn up and all this other cool stuff. They was cooking. My dad was like a barbecue meister guy. He had a big ass smoker, like a grill. He would make food for the adults and the kids, and then for us, you know, because we were cultured. Like my dad made sure we knew how to eat. You know what I'm saying? And like he would take us to steak houses or like Mediterranean places or authentic Italian places, like stuff like that. He tried to culture us. He would take us to operas, you know, stuff like that. So he would always have something like special set aside for us. But anyway, regardless, it was a great time on the lake during the summer, you know what I'm saying? And I really am gonna miss those memories, you know, like it the music that would play, the dances. I even like made mention in TikTok. I was like, there was always the person who was like, I've known you your whole life. Don't you remember me? And you'd be like, who the fuck is this? You know, like, no, I don't know who the fuck you are. But thanks. See you at graduation when you give me a gift. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But every summer we would have a celebration. And every year at the end of school, or, you know, you have friends that you keep up with and stuff, and they'd ask you, you know, what are you going to do this summer? Or what are you doing this weekend? Or something like that. And I would be like, oh, I'm going to Juneteenth with my family, like I do every year, you know? And they would be like, you made that up. That's a made up holiday. Like, that's not real. And so for a long time, in my, I'd say probably from middle school, like straight up sixth grade to maybe even younger, maybe like fifth grade to maybe about 10th grade. Like when um, I moved from Louisville to um, Aubrey in my 10th grade year. So when I was like 14, 15 years old, probably from about fifth grade to almost 10, over like to 10th grade, I actively pretended like that. I didn't talk about it because I didn't want people to tell me I was a liar, because I'm not a liar. I'm not a good liar. Okay. I can't lie about that sort of thing, but it felt bad to be discounted that way, you know? And so I stopped talking about it. But it wasn't until I got older, I turned 17, 16, 17 years old, and I started to really get a sense of I fucking don't really care what people think. And as long as I'm being authentic to me, I think that's good. But I also had that weird pick me shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so on the inside, I was like, I am who I am, and these are the things I like. But on the outside, I was acting like no, you know? And I don't know. I just, it's a little hard for me, you know, to realize that I did such pick me behavior, but it was like hard for me to like not talk about it because it was absolutely the party of the century in my family, or not the century, it was the party of the year in my family, in my childhood. Anyway, but that's like my experience, I guess, with Juneteenth. Like, I'm sure there's a lot more, and I'm sure I'll like recount more things as we go on this afternoon. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, like, what do you like? I want to know what your memories of Juneteenth are. Like, I've talked y'all's ears off. We definitely in the Discord, in the Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord. Tell us what your stories are, your childhood stories, your adulthood stories. It doesn't matter. I want to hear how y'all celebrated Juneteenth. And Slappa, go ahead. How did you? What do you know, or when did you find out? Or I want to know.
I'm pretty sure the first time I found out about Juneteenth being like a holiday was in prison, and everyone was like really hyped about we were having like greens and biscuits
What? Okay.
and uh like fried chicken, because Juneteenth they got to like the people in the kitchen got to make whatever they wanted basically, and they were all excited about it. And that's when I found out. I was like, what is Juneteenth? Why is this like a special day?
Were the people in the kitchen black?
I mean, yeah,
Oh my yeah. Well, you know, you think it's a rotation, but I guess that
it's a
makes
good mix.
yeah.
But yeah, that's when I found out. I mean, I knew about the like Texas being the last state to like be told that they were free and actually like let slaves go free. And I think it's like super fucked up that somehow living in Texas, I didn't know about this holiday. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Oh my god, right? Like um I guess like even as a kid, I don't really know why we were celebrating. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know, but I knew we did. You know what I mean? And not weird to think about. Like, I think our parents were honestly actively shielding us for what the reason was for the celebrating, you know. But I don't know if I knew until I was much much older. You know what I mean? Like, probably definitely around like mid 20s when I really figured it out, you know what I'm saying? But like that pick me ass behavior, I swear it would be the death of me. It will haunt me for my whole life. I wouldn't be surprised if it haunts me, like my pick me ass behavior. I guess it does because, you know, every once in a while you get like the random DM from like someone from your past, and they'll, oh, Vernie, you look so beautiful. Get the fuck away from me, bro. Kill with fire. Anyway, but but yeah, so also they was making fried chicken. What else was they making? Hold up. What else would they make? What they make?
I really that's the things I ate. Okay, those were the good things. I'm sure there was like squash and mashed potatoes and just like basics like that. But that's what I
Did they do
remember.
anything like special, like other than just like cook good food or no?
Oh, and they had like, oh man, I think it was like red velvet cake. It was really good, juicy cake, moist.
Ooh, dang, they really let y'all throw down. You know, like they didn't. Well, I guess school wasn't in session. You know what I'm saying? That's really interesting that like a state prison would let you party on, but like most people were denying that it even existed. Like, that's so weird. That is actually a very interesting like observation. But I guess it makes a lot of sense, with the prison to pipeline, system where most or a vast, huge majority of the in the prison system, system of a down style, um, that there's like disproportionate amounts of black people and people of color. So of course, they would do some people of color shit in there, So I mean, that's exciting actually. We're not exciting, but honestly, I think it's it's almost like, I don't know, it's like a what is the sense I'm feeling, like what is the feeling I'm feeling, like it's like I
It's
feel.
like there's like some German word where it's like you're happy about it, but it's like not a happy situation.
Yeah.
I forgot what the word is.
Right. If y'all know what the word is, I'd love to hear it in the live react or in the story time or whatever. But yeah, that's the kind of sense it gave me, is like it excites me that they used to do it big, but at the same time the reason why they probably did it big is because they had the majority and were celebrating what they wanted to because they had the majority, So, anyway, so I wanted to start by, sharing happy, fun memories about what Juneteenth means to me and the things that I did as a kiddo. And surprised, that was the first time slap I even heard about it, but also not surprised because, I mean, he's white, like I don't expect him to know. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like our souls have always been bonded. Like I just kind of expect you to have always been here, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know. It's like it's hard to remember times without you a lot. Like I feel like you've always been with me.
It's only been 10 years. All right.
Yeah. All right. So I did want to share a little bit about the history of Juneteenth and like where it actually came from. Okay. So, as we know, president, 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 anyway, President Abraham Lincoln is the one who issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st of 1863, right? In the middle of the Civil War. So like the Civil War went from April 12th, 1861 to April 9th, 1865. Fucking Lincoln issued that we were free in 1863 and they refused to give it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like real fucked up how there's on June 1st, sorry, not June 1st, January 1st of 1863. That's when it came into effect, right? That's what they call Freedom's Eve. And people were just making like, ooh, let's band together. I want to know, are we actually going to be free? Are they actually going to let us go? And they did. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the people in the Union states did let them go. And even soldiers went to the plantations and were just like, let these people go. But, I'll get there, but hold on. But I think it's like crazy, that they basically just had these people who were basically treated like animals and then they just set them free with nothing. You know what I'm saying? We'll get there though. So, but the thing about it is in the north, they were all right, or all right, you know what I'm saying, uncertain. But it was in the south where, the war was still raging on. It wasn't until April 9th, 1865, when Robert E. Lee finally surrendered. And I still, to this day, do not understand why they had that big ass statue of Robert E. Lee in fucking Denton Square all those years. Like, he, on the one hand, he's a fucking, he fuck quitter. You're a goddamn quitter. You need a, what do they call him? a participation trophy. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no reason for that thing to even still be there. And I know that it's because of, what was that push, honey? It was like the Daughters of the Confederacy or some shit. Yeah, and like they just like did a mad push during Jim Crow to basically put all those statues up. Like
Oh,
did y'all know that, by the way? Like I know Slappa knows. I don't shut the fuck up about anything. But no, seriously, did y'all know that? Like whenever like the Daughters of Confederacy, like literally during Jim Crow, like when they were trying to keep black people under thumb because they was getting too haughty, you know what I'm saying? They started erecting statues all over the place. Like they're not even old statues, guys. Like a lot of those statues are as old as our parents are. You know what I'm saying? Or my parents anyway, because my parents were fucking boomers. But like, you know what I'm saying? They weren't even as old as our families were. Like your grandma is probably older than some of those statues are. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's just mad fucked up that they wanted to keep that motherfucker up there, and it's like me, man, put that shit in a fucking Civil War museum. But again, this is why I don't really know much about the Civil War, is because of bullshit like that. Because when you learn about it, it's hard to me. It's hard on my psyche, mentally, but it's also hard because you have people like the Daughters of the Confederacy who were pushing to keep us underfoot. And people who are big, a lot of them, I'm not going to say all of them, okay? The ones that I've met, rather, maybe it's because I am black, you know what I'm saying? But the ones I've met are really hostile when they're talking to me about their passion. Y'all don't know me in real life, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much the same person, you know what I mean? A lot of times I let people, like, I will take up a room. I'm taking up this podcast, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'll realize that about myself. I am very extroverted, you know what I'm saying? And I will be like, I'm talking a lot, what's something you like? Do you like My Little Pony? I don't know. Like I like try to start easy. Like, do you like Arthur? Do you like cartoons? Do you like anime? What kind of music do you listen to? Tell me about it. You know what I'm saying? I want them to talk to me. I want them to tell me
I
things.
want detail.
I want details. I want to know details. What's your favorite cartoon? I don't know. But like, and like, so I'm always like the kind of person who's like, if I meet somebody or I'm inviting them to our table, if they're sitting alone, when we used to do karaoke all the time, I would always invite a lone feminine presenting person, femme presenting person to our table so that they were safe with me, with Slap, you know what I'm saying? And we made a lot of friends that way, you know what I'm saying? And I would always somehow get them to open up to me, you know what I'm saying? At one point I had like almost the max amount of friends on Facebook because like I had so many people who wanted to be my friend after, but I eventually just cut all that bullshit out because you don't know what you're going to get. Because a lot of times those people will absolutely turn on you in the scariest way. And no, I'm good. Anyway, basically all that to say is just like, I didn't learn about a lot of this until I was very much an adult. You know what I mean? Because like when you learn about it, it's painful, and but even though it's worth it, you try to learn more about it, and you encounter toxic people. And so like I don't expect anybody to know all this and shit. I was just trying to say like it just doesn't make any sense to me that like they had these statues of Robert E. Lee with this black and white fountains. Like I've seen the segregated fountains, you know what I'm saying? And they thought that was a great idea in the middle of a college town, in the middle of an arts college town. You know what I'm saying? People in Dallas, like if you go to UNT, which is University of North Texas, go Eagles or whatever the fuck, mean green. But like if you go there, you're probably some sort of arts major, like 8 times out of 10. You know what I mean? The people that I know are musicians. aspiring teachers. A lot of them are musicians who are going to teach kids like how to play band or be in choir. Like all the time people would come to our school from high school, our from UNT to my high school, to test out their teaching skills to us during choir. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't unheard of. And like it's just like kind of crazy to me that this really progressively seeming city, we've since learned otherwise, was so ass backwards, I guess. Anyway, so Robert E. Lee surrenders on April 9th, 1865. And then guess what? They didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell anybody that the war had ended. I'm sure they knew that the war had ended, but they didn't tell anybody that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed 2 years prior. You know what I mean? So it took.
And they didn't tell the slaves.
True.
Because they knew.
True.
That shit.
Yeah, there's actually a few stories floating around there, and I'm so sorry that I failed in sharing that story. You know what I'm saying? But Blackout on TikTok, which is one of my favorite people, Andre, who also runs a wonderful podcast, by the way. He talked about it extensively. Andre's Redacted History podcast is absolutely lovely, and he has he's got the richest Black man voice. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like he gave it's just a juicy, delicious voice. He's got a beautiful voice, and he's funny as fuck too. But anyway, so he does. Excuse me. Sorry. But he's very knowledgeable in his history and very passionate, and he knows all the presidents. He was doing anyway, he's a good guy. You should go watch it or listen to him, because he talks extensively about all of this, and I will give that plug to my friend. I do adore him. But yeah, so there's stories that are literally about slaves overhearing the masters talking and grabbing a few people, you know what I'm saying, and running the fuck off. And then there's a lot more stories, though, of people not leaving because they were afraid they were going to get hunted down again, even though it was literally illegal. But they were doing it. So it did take it. I know how words work. Anyway, so it took actually until June 19th. So 2 months later, literally, for them to be all freed. Essentially what happened is they were literally pretending like everything was chill, you know what I'm saying? But just like in the Union, in the northern states, and the military was going around and being like, hey, let them people go. Moses, you know what I'm saying? But in the South, they were eventually doing the same thing with a lot more pushback, but the same thing. Okay. So on June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger, who was a Union soldier, was led a force of people to Galveston, Texas. And they're the ones who spread through the streets, through the city, that the war was over, the Union won, and y'all could leave. You know what I'm saying? And people flooded into the streets and started to fucking party. Okay. They started to party hardy. Okay. And I think it's interesting that when I was reading through, jogging my memory in some of this, let me read to you what is this? The National Museum of African American History and Culture, on their website. It says that they announced that more than 250,000 Black enslaved people were free by executive decree, and this day became known as Juneteenth. Then it says this started the post-emancipation period as Reconstruction, which was from 1865 to 1877. And then it goes on to say, formerly enslaved people immediately sought to reunify families. I did hear that. Then I did read about that before today. You know what I'm saying? They established schools. Okay. ran for political office. Okay. And they pushed radical legislation and even sued slave owners for compensation. I don't I don't know about all that. Like obviously like I'm going to trust these people more, but this is what I remember when I was going through my unlearning, you know what I'm saying? For example, like in okay, so I was doing a story about the drowned cities. If y'all don't know what the drowned cities are, on TikTok I do have a playlist for Black History Month. It's like the first because I was on my road to 50,000 back then, and I'm on my road to 100,000. But y'all don't hear me though. No, I'm kidding. But no, seriously, I've been trying to make that a goal for like a year now. I would love to hit 100,000. But anyway, what basically the first two or three videos I want to say was about the drowned cities. One of those cities was Seneca Village, which is where Central Park is in New York. You know what I'm saying? And you know how there's that big ass reservoir there. Seneca Village is where that water was. You know what I'm saying? That's they drowned that town. They in an effort to go ahead and um what's the word I'm trying to say? They drowned it in order to make way for the reservoir, which would have made them money, basically. But the other story that I think they call it displacement is actually because they didn't want black people to own fucking property, you know? Seneca Village was much like Black Wall Street, like the Greenwood District. Again, I always say I call it the Greenwood District because before there was a Tulsa race massacre, there was a thriving black town. Okay. So Seneca Village and much like Greenwood District or Black Wall Street was a thriving black community. That it was owned, like I think the plots of land were initially owned by white people who sold them off to black people. Black people was buying hella plots out there. They did start their own church, schools, stuff like that, right? But they also owned their own fucking houses and shit and rented them out to other people, other black people. Other marginalized communities felt safe there, much like they did in the Greenwood district. And they actually uh, were allowed to vote because they had political not political property. You couldn't vote unless you had property. Now, here's why I said I'm not denying, okay? Because maybe at one point they were allowed to just freely do all this shit, right? Probably extremely heavily biased, you know what I'm saying? But maybe they were. But eventually they were not because they put up every single hoop ever to stop us. That argument right there is the very reason why systemic racism is an absolute thing. How people say, like, well, I also work at fucking Costco. Hi, I love you. Welcome to Costco, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I also work 40 hours and I don't live extravagantly. That's not what the fuck we're talking about. They took away everything from us as a people and then expected us to still get by like everybody else. But that's literally impossible. They were allowed to vote, and then they made it so you had to own property. Then people started owning property, they started drowning the cities. Do you understand? So like it's just kind of hard for me to believe that they were like suing people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just what do you think about that, Sweetness?
Um, I mean, I'm sure they sue. I really would be interested in hearing about like how those lawsuits turned out because like a lot of abolitionists were lawyers and they were trying to free people through legal means. And I bet after the Civil War, they were trying to go further and help people out. So I don't doubt that they were suing people. I just wonder like how
What the
well
outcome, yeah.
they did with that, or like how long it took Texas courts to just like
Or
put
any
some
courts,
bullshit in.
honestly, like any of
Yeah,
them.
like I'm sure at some point they put some shit in to fuck over any lawsuits against plantation owners, but
Mm. And then, not to mention the fact that, like, just like with the Tulsa Race Massacre, there's towns in the Pacific Northwest, I believe in Oregon, I want to say. I again, it's all on TikTok. I did hella research back then, and like, I feel like I'm just kind of flailing. And you should always be replenishing your knowledge. You know, always just like just take a moment and just read about something. Like, I should really practice that. But y'all, I started getting on soapboxes like when I learned I'm sorry, like when I learned about what COINTELPRO COINTELPRO, y'all, when I learned about that, I remember screaming it to like anybody who even would listen to me. One time we like were having issues with our internet, and we have like that good expanse of internet, so people came the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? They was like, "Yo, let me just replace whatever bullshit here." You know what I'm saying? And the guy was waiting for everything to start up, and he was like, "What do you do here?" And I had just started really embarking on my TikTok like relationship, you know, and like um he was like, "What are you doing? Like, what do you talk about?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell you about bro." You know, I went fucking ham on that dude. And I really feel like he actually learned something though. Like, that's why I don't shut the fuck up about it. I think I said it to him and I explained it to him and made him understand in his mind in such a way that I think I might have, you know, made him learn something, you know, and that really excited me because if I can make people on the internet like, you know, change their mind or learn something new or share or extend my knowledge to them, then and in person too, like this person just sat here and listened to me soapbox, and they're probably going to pass that knowledge on too. And that's what it's about, you know, like that like really struck a chord with me, you know what I'm saying? So like whenever you should always be remembering and refreshing yourself and spreading the knowledge and just making it so people understand you in any sort of way, you know what I mean? Anyway, but I feel like um there's just a lot there, you know what I'm saying? And like I don't know how to read this, and I'm willing to agree with you that you're probably right, because like OW Gurley and the other gentleman who founded the Greenwood district were lawyers. The gentleman who was working with Susan B. Anthony, who turned out to be a horrific racist, and that was really tragic to hear. um what was his name? It was gosh, I can't remember. Oh my god, it was the one that everybody follows. He's like the most famous one. In reference to, hold on. Worked with so yes, I know that racist bitch. And Frederick Douglass. So Susan B. Anthony worked with Susan B. Anthony worked with Frederick Douglass in the suffrage movement, you know, but she turned out to be horrifically racist. If y'all want to know more about that, I did make a TikTok about it. Anyway, but Frederick Douglass, he was the mentor to the people who made the Greenwood district. So I mean that makes a lot of fucking sense, you know what I'm saying? And like I don't know, I just think I wish I don't know, like I wish I had more information. Like I don't really have more thoughts on it at this time. It's kind of a hard subject to broach. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I made a playlist that I think is almost 28, you know, videos, but it's not because it is hard, you know, like carrying around this information, it's hard living this information, you know. And I don't know, like I'm down to do it every once in a while, like really just put in like hella effort and just really just get through, like, let's talk about it. And I get so excited and animated about it. But it's hard to read about because like all of it is so interconnected and intertwined that it's like you can't unlearn about this without suddenly knowing about this and this too. You know, like what you just said is like a lot of the abolitionists were lawyers. And then I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Because Frederick Douglass mentored O.W. Gurley and the other person, I'm so sorry, I forgot who the other guy's name was, who made the Greenwood District. And the Greenwood District was burned down by white people because they didn't want black people to have their own thriving district. And then they made these laws, or like they drowned cities. They stole from black people in an effort to create this systemic racism. And the ripple effect is so long and forever and always in the center is always the same thing. It always stems from slavery and trying to fit in and pass in society. It always has been. My hair, perfect example. I had my hair straight, and there's like it's almost like a running joke, not a joke, but like, you clown with the people you love the most. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like a joke that if you have like smooth, if you keep your hair smooth, it's because you're trying to impress a white person. You know what I'm saying? But when you fully embrace your afro, that means that you're giving up on the societal norms. Like that's a running inside joke. You know what I'm saying? But like, where does that come from? Because they were trying to conform into a society they were recently freed from after years of 200 years of like oppression. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, it's even more fucked up. You know what's crazy? Whenever you think about hair, like you see, I get mad excited, but it's a lot to know. You know what I'm saying? The person who made the creamy crack, like the perm, the man who made it was a light-skinned black man. You know what I'm saying? And he wanted to fit in with his white counterparts by straightening our hair. And so who needed it? Black women, black men. So he started marketing it and shaming people for wearing their natural hair. Where does that come from? From a need to fit into society because you were recently freed and you're trying to fit in because you were just recently a slave. You know what I'm saying? It all goes back to the same place. That's what I mean. When I say the ripple effects, that is what I mean. It always goes back to the same place. Anyway, I know that's a lot to cover and handle, guys. I just want to say thank you because I love talking about history. I really do, but I really don't. Like I think the reason why is simply just because it hurts. I'm not going to cry this time, but it hurts though. It hurts sometimes knowing that you'll never be good enough for someone. But I guess at the same time, you can also hold kind of a solace in that because no matter what color you are, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't fucking rock with you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can be like Michael Jackson, where they're just beloved by millions and billions. But at the same time, there are still people who don't like him because he had a little too many allegations against babies. You know what I'm saying? Like kids. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I guess, I'm okay with that. And I think that's kind of how I feel about it. What do you have to say about that in closing on this part?
Yeah, I remember you researching a lot of the COINTELPRO stuff, and we'd have to take breaks a lot. But it is very interesting to learn just how deep so much of this stuff goes. And speaking of COINTELPRO, creamy crack, where does that come from? What do you think?
Well, as far as like, so here's the stigma, or not the stigma, here's the reason why we say it, right? My hair is a lot. My hair is a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever we do my hair, it's always a whole day. a whole weekend. You know what I'm saying? It is an ordeal. Okay. So when my hair is straight, when I do have a perm, my perm will last for about a month or so. I wash it, every other week. You know what I mean? Like it's low maintenance. What else? And because it's low maintenance, you like I'm gonna do it again, just one more time. I'm like I'm gonna do it again. You know what I'm saying? And then you keep doing it, and then you're fucking bald. And then that's why we called it the creamy crack. You know what I'm saying? Is because once you start, you really can't stop, or you have to start all the way over.
That
And
makes a
like
lot of sense.
and so like I think that's maybe where the stigma comes from. But the fact that you put COINTELPRO, because they absolutely introduced substances into, I like how I knew exactly what you were going for.
Yeah, because it's all interconnected, and
Yeah.
it's like really, it's like tragically enlightening to
Yes, and
learn about this
like
stuff.
that, it actually tracks even harder now that you've said that, because like when was COINTELPRO like really rising during the time of the 50s and 60s, when what were they doing, like the doo-wop bands and the Temptations movie where they have the perms and he's like, ooh, like he like freaking out, you know what I'm saying? Wow. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like it always goes back and it always seems to originate in the same place. But anyway, I'll get off my fucking soapbox and get onto another one. In light of Pride, of course, I wanted to read a story that I did read on Monday, if you follow me on Tickle Talk, but someone did advise or ask if we could read it on here on YouTube, on our podcast. And I had planned to do that anyway, but I feel like this story it was a lot more beautiful than I thought because I hadn't read all the updates. Like this story is 7 years old, okay, guys, and it's longer than a bitch. But there's so many updates, and it's quite the roller coaster. So, if you've already heard it, that's fine. But I encourage, like, if you want to hear it again, that way you can hear my true feelings about the whole thing. I like going on my tangents. I'm currently on one, and then you can hear Slappa's opinion on what's going on too, because there was a moment where I was very shocked about OP's wife, because we're literally in that same situation. So, like, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our story called and my darling, let's take turns on this because there are several updates, and I'll send you the link here in a moment. But let's get into our story called I Think I Know What Happened to My Brother. And it's the last day of Pride. It's going to be a great long story. And I was only thinking this episode was only going to be like maybe like 45 minutes. We're in there, guys. We are in there. But it's the last day of Pride, so let's go all the way out. I'm trying to write this in a way so that no one will be able to research and find out who I am or my brother is, but it's the internet, and everyone's a super sleuth. My brother went missing years ago. By the way, I totally shouted out my friend at Not Con Jr. I love her. I love her. Anyway, and I also love that her username is literally Con Jr. from fucking King of the Hill. Like, we love a King of the Hill reference.
Actually, her name is
Actually.
not Con Jr.
Oh, my bad. You just gotta believe. Anyway, fuck you. I like y'all get my references. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway. I think I know what happened to my brother. I'm trying to write this, but everybody's a super sleuth. My brother went missing years ago. And when I say missing, I mean that his case was declared one of those creepy unsolved mysteries. It was on the news. I distinctly remember my parents interviewing for the news in our living room, and I think I know what happened to him. I was very young when he went missing. I barely remember him, but I do remember that I loved him a lot. He would pull me around our block in a wagon, and most kids his age didn't do that. The days before he disappeared, I remember him staying home and babysitting me. I stayed in my room and played Nintendo 64 throughout the day. A guy came over. I remember him. He was older, almost our dad's age. My dad. My brother made me go into my room whenever I heard the doorbell. I still wonder why he was sending him away. Probably trying to, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll get there. Later, after the guy later after the guy left, my brother would ask me not to say anything about the guy, with my brain only being focused on video games and extra dessert. I agreed. I didn't care, nor did I comprehend the gravity of the situation. Someone said in the comments that they thought the OP sounded really self-absorbed, and I was like, "Oh, but he's a kid." No. The day before he disappeared, I remember the older guy coming over. I was in the kitchen and I remember looking up and seeing him kiss my brother. They hugged. They didn't care that I saw them. I think that maybe that's why. Like this was one of the last days he was going to be there. He wanted his brother to know about him for real. You know what I mean? And maybe even spark that maybe his brother ran away and didn't get kidnapped. You know what I mean? Anyway, the day before he disappeared, he saw him kiss the guy. Kiss the girl, whoa, whoa. Anyway, they didn't care. Or kiss the guy, whoa, whoa, shalalala. I'm sorry. Anyway, they hugged. They didn't care that I hugged them or that I saw them. And then the guy waved at me and I waved back. Then I kept watching cartoons. Shalalala, don't be scared. Start watching The Little Mermaid. Anyway, I fell asleep on the couch and woke up to my brother whispering outside our front door, "Don't worry, he's asleep." The other guy said something I couldn't hear. Then my brother said something I couldn't make out, but I made out the words "visit them" or maybe "visit him." Either way, I know the word "visit" was in the sentence. The man raised his voice and said no. Then I heard "plan" and "city," and then I fell asleep again. The next morning, the day he disappeared, my parents were at work. My brother was acting very strange. I remember he kept checking the clock. In the afternoon, I remember him picking me up and asking me if I wanted to go in the wagon. I was too hooked on my N64 and said no. He almost begged me, and I still said no. He fucking knew. And then he told me he had to run to our neighbor's house for something. I don't even remember what he said. I just said, okay. He reminded me not to open the door for anyone, only mom and dad. And I shouted at him, okay, yeah. Because Super Mario was getting on my fucking nerves and he was not helping. Man, he gave me a hug and told me how much he loved me, and he left, and then he never came back. All these years, decades later, and I think he was in love with that man. I know he was. The memories randomly came flooding back to me earlier. I'm not quite sure why, but it has been taking over my thoughts lately. I can't sleep because I can't stop thinking about it. I think my brother left with that man and they ran away together. Or maybe something worse happened, but I don't think that's the case. In my freshman year of college, I was a part of a sports team that got national recognition. I remember my team's picture was on ESPN and with our university's name. A few days later, you've got mail. Sorry. I got mail at my dorm. It was a gift basket. I thought it was from my parents, so I didn't read the card. I threw it away immediately and ate what was in it. Bro, you ever just like threw away a card and didn't fucking look at it though?
Not that I know of.
Right. That's kind of messed up, bro. Anyway, so I didn't read the card. I threw it away and ate everything in it. It was nothing but candy. Nerds, Jolly Ranchers, Tootsie Rolls. Dude, I did that last time too. I said Tootsie and then I did a retake and said Tootsie. I don't understand why I want to say toot so much. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, Tootsie Roll. No, I'm kidding. Nerds, nard, nard, nerds. That shit hidden. That's okay. Nerds, Jolly Ranchers, Tootsie Rolls and Hershey Kisses. And I called my dad and thanked him for the gift basket. And he said he didn't send one, and neither did my mom. I got to thinking, all those candies were what I used to eat as a kid. Literally, all I ate for the earliest years of my life were those candies. I tried to
That's
find.
all he ate?
Bro, I was literally about to
What?
say, wait, the cavities must have been crazy.
Dental insurance on deck.
We got good dental. But then I tried to find the card, but I couldn't. Then I began to think about how my brother would wheel me in the wagon to the gas station close to our house so I could get candy after dinner, even though it was punishable by death. A big no-no from mom. Months later, my candy. Oh, Bobby! My candy. Anybody who likes Craig the Creek, my candy. My candy. In solidarity, okay? Months later, during Christmas, I got an unmarked card for Christmas. The only thing written on it was a smiley face. Since then, I've heard nothing. No one I know sent that card. I never responded. I wonder every day if he's out there. I've never told anyone this. When the police asked me what happened that day, I told them that he went to the neighbor's house, because that's all I remembered, honestly. It destroyed my parents. My mom became addicted to painkillers, and my dad has had 3 extramarital. Dad was cheating, which I know this tragedy is no way as an excuse to cheat, but it sure as fuck didn't help. Yo, what? Okay, well, we'll come back to it.
Well, my boy ran away.
I guess
I'll cheat.
Yeah, like for real, like, especially considering that we know the reason. Like, of course, like all of that tracks so deeply. Like, fucking what? Anyway, it destroyed my parents. My mom became addicted to painkillers, and my dad was cheating on everybody. It's ruined our family. And maybe my brother knows what he did, and maybe he regrets it, and he knows he can't come back home. But if I could see him today, I just want to tell him that he's always welcome in my home. I love you so much, brother. We have so much catching up to do. Please come home. Please. And that's the end of the first story. Slapper's choice, which was actually his wife's choice, but you know.
It's not my choice. I got told I'm taking turns and we're reading this long story together.
Always have a choice, baby.
All right.
Yeah, you got that choice. Mufasa. Ooh. Do it again. Mufasa. Sorry.
All right. Part 2. My parents kept my brother a secret from me. It's 4 p.m. and I'm drunk.
Woo!
Well, these past few weeks have been insane. I posted on here before. My brother went missing a long time ago. I thought he ran away from home. Long story short, I got into contact with some detectives that our family has known since my brother went missing. When I started asking questions, they told me that my brother was no longer on any missing persons registry. When I asked what that meant, they told me that he was removed per my parents' request. Whoa.
Bro.
I asked my parents.
When was they gonna tell somebody about that? This dude said decades later. When was they gonna tell somebody? Never.
Whatever he found out, I guess.
I guess. Why not just?
That's a problem for future mom and dad. Okay. I asked my parents. My dad actually. My dad ignored me. My mom told me my brother is alive and okay, as far as she knows. They found my brother years ago, a very, very long time ago, and found out he was living with another man. He's gay, and it disgusted my parents. He tried reaching out to them. They told him that they didn't want anything to do with him and that I didn't remember him and wouldn't want to see him.
Not the dad, not saying shit after cheating and slanging that dang-a-lang all over town. Bruh.
Right. I went ballistic. My parents weren't fazed by it. They sincerely hate my brother for who he is,
Yeah,
for being gay. They kept him a secret from me all my life. My brother missed the birth of his nephew. He missed my wedding, graduations, everything just because of my parents. They lied to me. That's rough, buddy. I've been able to get a phone number and contact information from police officers. My brother left it all open in case anyone from our family wanted to contact him. That is so sad.
He never gave up hope.
He didn't. God damn. I still can't work up the nerve to call him. The address I have for him is across the fucking country, but he's alive. My brother's alive. I'm drunk as fuck right now because I can't deal with any of this real shit, dude.
That's the proper response.
Yeah, what else? What else are you gonna do? That's fucking insane. I haven't talked to my parents in weeks. I never plan on speaking to them again. Not for what they've done to me or my brother. This is real and it happened. It happened. It's happening right now. I don't know how to process this at all. My parents let me believe my brother was dead or kidnapped forever, when in reality, he just ran away. And when he wanted to come back, they disowned him. I'm fucking crying right now. How could you do that? Fuck you, God. Fuck you, Christians and Jesus. I don't even know. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm sorry. My God, man. Putting it all out.
Yo, but for real, like, I know, some people may not agree with me by saying, like, that's not the proper response, but it is. He was melting down. Like, he was doing it the way he needed to. Like, everybody just does it differently. This dude said, fuck you. Fuck, dishonor you. Dishonor your cow. Like, he said, fuck everybody. Goddamn. Like, he said, fuck everybody. And I can't say I blame him. And not what did you say earlier? You said I can't work up the nerve to call him motherfucker. You don't call that man right now. We're gonna have a fucking problem, okay?
Well, guess what? We got an update.
Okay.
Part 3.
Okay.
I met my brother that was missing.
Okay.
Here's an update.
Okay.
You ready? Okay.
Okay.
The day after I made my last post, I woke up and I called into work. I told my wife, who is essentially my confidant, and I tell her, it's your wife. You don't got to explain that. That's how it's supposed to be.
Not me getting ready to make a video about this exact thing. Because it's very apparent that people literally will marry people because they think that that's what they're supposed to do when they don't even fucking like them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if he has to clarify, he's probably clarifying for a vast majority of people who believe that. So go ahead.
Shut the fuck up. The whole story. She wasn't really surprised. She's not a fan of my parents much, but like many of you, she told me to call the number I was given for my brother immediately. I hope she was like, call that fucking number, you idiot.
Right, like literally like, call the fucking number. Leave it the fuck up.
She insisted on it. She took herself and my son out for a day together so I could be alone to talk with him. I dialed the number about 7 times before I actually pressed the call button. It started ringing and I hung up.
The struggle.
Then I got frustrated at myself and called the number back. It rang and I got a voicemail, but it was the automated voice and not anybody else's. I didn't leave a voicemail. I thought the whole thing was ridiculous. I called my wife and told her to come home, and she refused until I had talked to someone on the other end of the phone. About an hour of pacing and drinking 2 glasses of scotch at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I called the number again. It rang 3 times. I panicked. I hung up. But this time, the number was calling me back. I swear to whatever gods above, I thought my heart was going to stop. I almost threw up right there. I answered the call. The first thing I heard on the other end of the line was a guy laughing in the background. There was wind on the phone. The person on the other end was outside and it was windy. Who is this? Wait a minute. Who are you? It was his voice. I knew that voice. It was my fucking brother. My brother, who had been gone my entire life. I covered my mouth with my shaking hands and just sat there. He kept asking me who it was. The guy in the background was trying to talk over him. He hung up on me. I called him back right away, and he answered again. Me being a creepy ass, the first thing I said after decades of not seeing him and thinking he was dead, I blurted out, I got your number.
Thanks.
Right. He asked me who I was and what I wanted. I said, it's me. There was a really long pause. I thought the call had dropped, and then I heard him to tell someone, turn the radio down and roll the window up. The sound of wind stopped, and then he asked me my name. I told him, and he said that I was lying. I told him I got his number from the Missing Children's Network and detectives. I heard him gasp. He asked me what color shoelaces he wore to a picnic when we were kids. I remember my mom getting mad at his orange laces with the blue shoes, and it was the last time we were together as a family.
Yo, I wanted to say this like earlier this week, but why was she so mad about the orange and the blue? Orange and blue is a wonderful combination. Look at Blippi.
Isn't it literally like contrasting color? So they're opposites, but they look nice together.
Okay, but orange isn't one of the primary colors. It's not red, yellow, blue. Or is that not how that works? You know what?
That's not how it works. It's like on the color wheel, the like color opposite on the other side of the wheel, like they're so different they like go to good together. Something like that. I'm not an artist though.
I'm like sinking to the ground. But anyway, I did look up the color wheel. And yes, you're right. You're right. God dang. Wow, look at you. Not a rapper though, not an artist though.
I know a few. I'm something of an artist myself. I know some things. I went to art class. I could tell he was crying. The first thing he asked me was, "Where are you?" And I told him I lived a few hours away from home. Without hesitating, he told me, "I'm coming."
Where are you?
That poor stepson. He went straight to the airport without any luggage, bought a plane ticket, and flew straight to me. God damn. That's brotherly love right there. We stayed on the phone the whole time. When he was walking through the gate, I knew who he was right away. He was middle-aged, salt and pepper hair, and muscular. He looks just like my dad, but only better. I know if I told him that would make him mad. I literally pushed an old lady out the way and just hugged him. That's right.
Okay, but real talk though, they was on the phone the whole damn time.
That's pretty crazy.
I didn't catch that the first time. They were
I
on
thought
the
that
phone.
crashed plane.
Well, they have phones, don't they? Like, don't they have phones on the planes that you can use on the plane, but you have to pay for the plane minutes?
I mean, I'm not a person of means, so I've never done that. But I thought they turned everything off, like when they're like don't use your phone to put it on airplane. That's what airplane mode's for, right? Like, what happens if there's no airplane mode? Do you just blow the plane up?
Very interesting, sir. But also, move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the Move, bitch, get the fuck out of the way. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Me at the grocery store. I literally pushed an old lady out the way and just hugged him. He was about 2 inches taller than me, and he was able to pick me up. Damn. He was crying. I was crying. I was having a breakdown. What's that Jack Johnson song about breaking down? I hope this old train just breaks down. I don't remember.
I was thinking about
Something like
Breaking Benjamin. There's the song from Breaking Benjamin on that very first album, Saturate, and it's like, I'm headed for a breakdown. What's that sound? You're so loud. I'm headed for a breakdown. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
He went to the bar. We went to the bar at the airport. He wouldn't let me out of his sight. He kept holding onto my arm. He kept telling me how unreal it all was. He apologized to me. He kept crying, telling me he felt horrible. I told him to forget everything and tell me about his life. He's married. His husband's a doctor, a pediatric oncologist. They live in the Pacific Northwest. They have 2 children, girls, 12 and 8. He works as a legal consultant and he has his own firm. He has an amazing life. He told me that he thought I hated him and wanted nothing to do with him. We sat at the bar for hours, literal hours. I think we sat for about 6 hours before I begged him to come home and meet my wife. We got home and my wife was a mess. She hugged him and insisted he stay with us. At this point, his husband was going insane and kept calling him. He had no idea what was going on. He thought he had eloped or something. It was crazy for a couple days until everything was explained and out in the open. My son and my brother were like 2 peas in a pod. Honestly, I never wanted children. My son was an amazing accident, but I'm not good with kids. I'm always afraid I'm going to break them. They're very resilient. You won't break them.
Also, I totally feel it though, because I definitely was like, I had baby, I made this, but somebody take it from me, please. I'm afraid.
And there I was. But my brother is a pro. Kids love him. He stayed with us for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks, everything about my life changed. His husband and 2 daughters flew in to stay with us. My brother in law and my nieces, my family. They were my family. They are my family. My brother wants my wife and I to move to be closer to him. My wife is on board. I work as a professor at a university, and I've already started to send out feelers to see if there are any open positions. And I found one that's actually tenured and higher pay. This is like a crazy fucked up fairy tale. You know what I mean? Like it's
Truly.
just ending so well.
Yeah.
I do not plan on forgiving my parents, but my brother still loves them. Damn.
He never stopped trying. Like I didn't even realize like how much he never stopped trying. Like I didn't catch the first time around, when we told the story, um, that I was trying to read it fast because you only have 3 minutes per video. But like the fact that his brother left his contact information and left it updated and kept it updated, he never gave up hope. That's
He went by their house and knocked on the door. My father shut the door in his face. My mother gave him a hug and told him to take care of himself. Then she shut him out. I can't believe that. That's 30 years later. You're still disowning your son? Like after everything you've been, especially the mom, after everything you've been through, you're sticking with, that's my man. I'm gonna stick beside
I'm
him.
a stick this bitch. But like even still, like I'm so sick of this dad. He didn't say anything. He totally wrote off the OP in the last one, or earlier. And or right, it was the last one, right? Because
Yeah.
when he found out, and then again, you gonna slam the fucking door in his face, bruh. When your fucking diseased ass, your fucking diseased old ass was out there slanging that thing to anybody who would fucking catch it. Okay. You don't have any fucking space to be like all up in your, we've been watching that show. What's that show? What's that show? Righteous
Righteous
Gemstones.
gemstone.
Now, I'm not going to tell y'all anything, but I will say that there's something that's really common in Christian households is there's always that one kid that's mad alienated, right? And they always are the same way. They shut them out, they come back, and they keep shutting them out even though they came back. Like and okay.
I can't forgive them for that. And I have no reason to stay close with them. I want to be with my family. I want to make up for all the lost time. It's 2 a.m. right now, and I'm drinking a tall glass of scotch and grading papers. My beautiful, wonderful, smart, amazing wife is asleep on the couch. She likes to watch me grade papers. My son is asleep in his room, cuddled up with all the stuffed animals his uncle brought him. And I'm here, so happy and fulfilled, knowing my family has grown and doubled in size so suddenly. My heart is happy, and I am so happy right now, Reddit. I'm so happy.
And YouTube and TikTok. Damn. That's fucking crazy, bro. That shit wild, my guy. My guy. That shit wild. Let's go ahead and read the story. So the ending is beautiful. And again, once again, uh it's the again, it is the last day of Pride. So I didn't even realize it at the time when I read it on Monday because it was a request from like a couple weeks ago. You know how it is. Like, I know you guys, like, I've read the story at this point, like maybe 3 or 4 times. You know what I'm saying? And I try to read things in such a way so I don't remember a lot of it, or I don't remember the details. I don't remember details. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to give y'all at least a somewhat genuine reaction, or at least keep you with me, like keep giving, like, come here. So this ending is so beautiful for the ending of Pride Month. So, my new family and moving forward. Hi everyone, I posted on this blah 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 blah. All right. So now here I am posting under an update over 6 months later. Thank you for everyone so far, for everything. Everything in my life has changed in 10 months. Honestly, I don't even know what to say. I want to apologize for neglecting this account because I've been busy. We understand, especially because we didn't have to fucking wait. I want to fill you in on what's been going on in my life. I owe everyone who's messaged and commented that much. At the very least, my wife, son, God damn it, my wife, son, and myself have moved on, but it not exactly to the same region as the country of my brother. My wife, son, and myself have moved not exactly to the same region of the country as my brother and his family, but much closer to him. I got a new job teaching at a university months ago. While it's not a tenured position, it gives me the option to do the research, which is my favorite thing to do. My brother in law's family has had many interesting discussions with each other, trying to describe what has happened between my brother and I. They're a pretty open minded and accepting family, so to hear what we've been through has been absolutely shocking to them. My brother never did. My brother never told his husband the truth about his life, only that he didn't speak to his family anymore. Nevertheless, they welcomed me and my family with open arms when we came to visit. It was like we had always been a part of their family. I feel content knowing that they are my family. When my brother ran away with his first boyfriend when he was 18, he has elaborated and told me that the relationship with the man was horrifically abusive. And when he tried to leave and return home, our parents wouldn't let him. Again, I say, you say that you're hurt because his lifestyle means he's going to go to hell, and that's why you're upset. I can't say this shit on TikTok, so I'm saying it here. You're upset because your son's going to go to hell, and it hurts your feelings that he walked away from his family and his religion that y'all really fucking care about. But he was literally getting his ass whooped by somebody, and y'all turned him away. Who's really getting hurt here? I'm so tired of these people. Like, okay.
I was worried about that when he said the man at the house was like his dad's age. I was like, oh no. Like that was not like a good foreshadowing on what happened to OP after he disappeared.
Very true. And then, oh, because you have dad problems, so you went after the thing. God damn, you're so right. God damn. Anyway, he had nowhere else to go. So he was forced to stay with the abusive guy. Oh my gosh. Because he had nowhere else to go until he moved away to college. This deepened my anger from my parents. Here. But my brother, still to this day, has this ridiculous sense of hope and optimism. I love that about him because I don't have that. My brother and I are very two different people, but in a way that works well. We reflected on my teenage years and I filled him in on what happened with my life. My brother is very quiet and observant. He always watches before he intervenes. He's soft spoken and gently objects when someone says something that he disagrees with. He's patient, kind, and optimistic, as I've said. He had a very loving heart. So I think that's why he has an unrelenting faith in our parents. Me, on the other hand, I'm abrasive, impatient, and quick to jump to conclusions. My wife wanted me to add about me: doesn't separate laundry, refuses to mop the floors, and can't properly change the oil. Listen, we pay people to do that shit, okay? I barely make my bed. You're lucky if I fold my clothes and separate the pants from the shirts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who gives a shit? You all right, man. But anyway, and what the fuck am I changing my oil for? I mean, I might know how to do it a little bit, and I can definitely watch a video, but I'm gonna fucking pay somebody. What the fuck I got a job for? Anyway, despite being very different, we have this uncanny ability to be thinking the same thing. Even though we have been separated for several years, we can still give each other the look and know exactly what the other is plotting. My brother has been able to create a my brother has been able to create a spectacular, yes, you know what I'm saying? That's what's hot in the streets right now. Anyway, my brother's been able to create a spectacular life for himself all on his own. One thing I struggle with is knowing that he went through more than half of his life by himself, putting himself through college and law school. God dang, man. All alone. That's a feat. That's a feat right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you fucking did that. Like, good for you, my dude. You know, anyway. But the more he filled me in on the years away from home, all alone, the more angry I became. I severed communication with my parents months ago after the last time I posted on here, and it's done wonders for my own mental health. But then the election happened, and we're talking about 2016, 45. I don't like saying that dude's name. Like, if y'all have heard me say it, I just don't like saying his name. You'll hear me call him the orange guy or maybe the potato. No, I like potatoes too much to call him that. And I don't really care for oranges too much unless they're like in drink form. But then sometimes not even then because of toothpaste. And then also whenever I want to eat, sometimes the orange juice makes. Anyway, I did not mean to go off like that. But anyway, and also whenever you wake up and you just want to have a juice, you know what I'm saying? You can't have orange juice because it will absolutely fuck your shit up. I'm telling you. Have you ever done that, honey?
What, like after brushing?
No, like, you just wake up and just go get a glass of juice.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, I can't drink orange juice. Like, if I wake up in the morning and have a glass of orange juice, like specifically orange juice only, I will have horrific heartburn. My stomach will burn. It's bad.
What about a mimosa?
Well, the same thing. I wouldn't drink a mimosa without eating at least something first.
Come on.
So I have the most horrific gastro problems. My tummy hurts, okay, and I'm lactose intolerant. Like, for real, the rumbles in my tummy hurt like fuck. And I'm pretty sure. What did they say I had, honey? Like, I have like basically. I'm about to be like IBS or some shit like that, like my mom and my sister. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't fucks with orange juice in the morning because that shit's scary. Anyway, um, oh, and also like I'm like not always in the most there. Like, I kind of assume like my brain kind of dictates a lot what my tummy feels like. Like, if I don't feel good, my tummy doesn't feel good. If I've spent too much money, like if I spent, like when we bought the couches, I just went home and started drinking, like, because I knew if I was going to eat something, I was just going to throw it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, like when my dad would buy cars, like, that's several thousand, tens of thousands of dollars, he would I'm buying a bottle or a handle of something, and y'all, here's like $50-$60. Go eat. Leave me the fuck alone though. Like, that's like how my dad was. Is like, Anytime his like emotions were high, anxiety, he just signed a contract to buy a car, like stuff like that. My dad would be mad stressed about it because maybe, well, I mean, we've bought cars. It's a stressful ass process. Like we hunted for those couches. That was a stressful ass process. And that was the first time when we were like still like several years ago when we were actually somewhat stable at that moment. You know, we both were working and we both were able to get our couches, which aren't nice, but it was our first like super large purchase that wasn't like an appliance, like a washer dryer. You know what I'm saying? So my tumbly be hurting, and especially in the morning when I'm not all there. And like, so I'm just attributing my like distrust of orange juice in the morning to my mental health. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, like I didn't want to wake up. Okay, I'm upset. I don't want your fucking orange juice. Anyway, I'm so sorry. What the fuck was I even talking about? Oh yeah, it was talking about the election, and I started talking about orange because
Yeah, I was like, wait, how did we even get on orange juice? Hold on.
so I am so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. The reason I literally brought up orange is because I don't like describing 45 by his real name. I will literally call him literally anything else, and I don't like orange or orange juice very much. So like, that's why I'm okay calling him orange. Anyway, so the election happened. Back to our story. Anyway, um, but then the election happened. In all honesty, I don't even have the words to summarize what this presidential election was. I don't want to make this political, but this whole thing, by its nature, is political and serves a great purpose. I've read messages on here of people saying that they too have been disowned by family for being gay, lesbian, bi, trans, or other identifying. I have heard so many stories from Redditors across the country telling me that they're scared, alone, and afraid every single day of their lives, all because of who they fundamentally are. And again, I say, y'all have shared with me story after story and have trusted me time after time. And OP is absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are safe with me. That's all I'm going to say. The day after the election, my brother and his husband were devastated. My wife, who was a black woman, oh yeah, I forgot. I was like, oh shit, yo. Anyway, my wife, who is a black woman, was devastated. It's not just 45 himself; it's his supporters, followers, and the ideology that took hold with so many people. Where I come from, his hateful rhetoric on registering Muslims and disenfranchising the LGBTQIA plus and minority people were heralded as something genius and revolutionary. But to me, it is a personal attack on my family. I've been in shock and disgusted for days. I had to explain to my son what it all means and why the world is not always a good place. I had to have the same conversation with him when his grandparents didn't like him because of his dark skin. Now let's fucking pause for a second. Now, your wife is black and you let your fucking kids around those people say that shit about him. You know what I'm saying? Like it's with him mentioning that his wife was black, right? When he said earlier that his wife didn't like his parents, like I don't know, like that hits like so deeply different now. That hits so deeply different now because your family despises me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything other than exist and stand up to them because nobody fucking talks to me any sort of way. Like I used to joke I would never join the military because even my own parents would not talk to me that way. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck would I let anybody else? But when he said because they had to have a conversation because his parents didn't like him because of his dark skin. What were they saying to your, why were you even hanging around? What if our kids are really yellow, you know, they're really white looking, you know. Um What would what
But I'm hoping it was just before. But yeah, I don't.
I just don't understand. Like, what the fuck would you say to your parents if they had said some fuck shit to me about our kids?
My dad did once. He was like, "Aren't you worried about having kids and people are going to be racist to them?" And I'm like, "We'll be okay." Like,
He asked you that?
yeah,
Well, being racist to me?
right,
That motherfucker.
yeah.
Motherfucker.
But like, I don't know, man. Hopefully, it was like before. Like the only time I hope that he brought the kids around these grandparents was before he found out about his brother and he stopped talking to the parents because
Well, he said no, no,
no,
because he
it was
said
after.
no, 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 no. It was before he knew
Okay,
because he
but
said his brother missed the birth of his son.
yeah, yeah, but like if you knew that your parents were on some fucked up shit like that already, you know the grandparents are worse. So I hope it wasn't some shit like that the reason why he led him around these grandparents where I don't know, man. Did he know his parents were like so fucked up? If they're homophobic, they're racist. Like pretty much, right?
I mean, they usually go hand in hand because xenophobia be like,
I don't know.
I couldn't imagine you wanting me or our children around after saying some fuck shit like that. And I can't believe well, I guess we don't know. You know what I mean? Did she? She just said he just said she didn't like them, but that was like a gross understatement. And I
He
don't,
knows the reason though.
huh?
He knows the reason, doesn't
Right.
he?
But I just kind of feel like maybe it was blissful ignorance. Like he said it all came flooding back to him very suddenly. I wonder if something had happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just a little crazy. I don't know. I look, let's just keep going. And also I'm starting to get hungry. Anyway. Um The day after the election, however, I got a call from my mother. I didn't answer it because I was in class, but she left a voicemail and said she would like to talk at my earliest convenience. I thought on it, still enraged, but decided to call her back, more out of curiosity than a desire to speak. When the conversation began, she asked how I was doing. Am I what? Bitch, I don't give a fuck. How are you doing? Bitch, if you don't tell me why the reason you call me. Anyway, my answers were short, one worded right. She jumped right in, and I could tell she was uncomfortable. She apologized, but she only apologized to me, not the
No,
wife,
no,
not the
hang up.
grandchild.
Bye.
Nah, nah, not the brother, not the wife. Nah, bitch, bitch, the way I would have figured out how to slam a phone down to hang up, you know what I'm talking about? Like, anyway, I wasn't phased by this. Okay, OP. I told my mother that she should talk to my brother, and unless she did that, then she need not call me. I told my brother that our mother had called, and the look on his face was pure happiness. I can't even begin to describe to you all. It was as if all of his dreams had come true. My brother called our mother, and she, to my surprise, picked up. They had a short conversation, and my brother's happy glow dimmed somewhat when he got off the phone. I remember taking a deep breath on Monday. God. I remember taking a deep breath on Monday because I was like, no, they fucking didn't. It's just hard to read and let that sink in and understand what that dim was. And fucking stresses me out anyway, especially because we were just talking about all of this. You know what I mean? Like, oh, anyway. Anyway, I will muppet. I will throw a titty at somebody. Anyway. All right. So after a short conversation, his happy glow dimmed and he got off the phone. He told me that she said, given the election results, she had only wanted to speak to me, I guess alluding to the fact that I'm a white straight male, the normal son, in an effort to repair the family. And that was that we all, me and my mom and dad, not my brother, need each other now. She also went on to say she does not approve of what my brother does, but she had read up on his lifestyle and recommended conversion therapy. And again, I say, remember, I told all those stories. Three, I think I went way out of my way and told 3 stories in one night, which I never do. And Slappa hates it when I read multiple stories because he knows I'm so drained after, like it's not that it's difficult. It's just I'm having a good time and I don't realize I'm like overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm exhausted. But I was on a fucking mission. I told those stories about the wife and the husband and how they all were beards for each other and they're all like they were cheating and they felt bad because they loved their people. How those people could literally go to conversion therapy, get themselves out somehow by faking it until they made it. And they would, or what if they believed the brainwash? They would still be gay. Why do you think people be like hiding in the bushes and in parks and shit? Why was that such a thing back in the 80s and 90s? You know what I'm saying? Why were they always meeting up in parks and getting caught in the cars with shit with people? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not fixing anything. And it's been proven time and time and time and time and one more time again that it doesn't fucking help. Ooh, the way this man was so positive and excited and happy go lucky, and the way his family continually shuts him out, the way his family, his dad, his mom, his spineless, disgusting individuals, like, oh, I don't appreciate you being in a monogamous relationship. And nothing against my poly friends, okay, but you are in a monogamous relationship. But this man, your father, who disowned you because you are gay and in a monogamous relationship, or just at least trying to be a good person out there, is out there slinging his fucking dick at anybody who will come and look at it. And I bet you they were age gap red flag relationships because he wanted to manipulate and fuck somebody up. Like, y'all, I can't even tell you, like, the way I held back on TikTok, that part sent me into a rage when I saw it. And you're a fucking mother. I cannot, as a mother who didn't even want to be a mother, you know what I'm saying? You pushed out a baby and it warped your body. And you kick it out. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't. Like, no matter how upset I get at our children, I will never throw them out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to throw them out. You want to go hang out with your friends? Fine. Whatever. But I'm not going to kick you the fuck out. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm really sorry. Anyway, so trigger warning. Anyway, but like, she went on to say that she doesn't approve in conversion therapy, and I started fucking raging and I saw red. And I think my brother has been broken a few. Oh, my bad. He responded. That gay baby boy, that grown gay baby boy said, "I'm sorry, Mom, but I can't do that. And I love you." And then good night. And the way I'm still seeing red, even though the lights in our room are green right now. But I think my brother's been broken these last few weeks, and the hope and optimism that naturally carries him through life has been eradicated. He's buried himself in work and ignores my discussion around family. My wife is a counselor and a queen. And she normally avoids counseling people she doesn't work with, but she's told me that the only thing I can do for my brother at this point is just to be there for him and to never let him be alone again. Like I said before, though, I have a tendency to lash out and be aggressive. So yesterday, this is me and Slap for sure. Like, somebody will hurt my feelings and Slap will go like nuclear on them later behind my back. Yesterday, while stewing on my own rage about my parents, I called my mother, and when she answered, I just began screaming into the phone. I unleashed a lot of things, and I remember crying while I did so because I was so enraged. I told her how much she hurt my brother, her son, how she put his life in danger, all for her ideology. Again, I say, who's really the fucking victims here, guys? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm literally preaching at you guys, but it's just it's just so common and frustrating, and the way that people's fucking lights are being extinguished, and for what? Sky daddy chill. Goddamn. Anyway, so I was so enraged, and I told her how much she hurt all of us, and I told her how unfair and upsetting it is that her brother and my dad would do this to their children, to my brother, how it's criminal and how they should be punished. Right. Right. Like, you say you want to be all good and holy, but you're literally turning your back on your brother or your son, on your family, which I thought was a thing that was not allowed. And you think you're gonna go to fucking the sparkly gates or whatever the fuck they call. What do they call them? What do they call them? Heavenly gates?
Yeah, the heavenly gates, the pearly gates.
Pearly gates. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? You think you gonna see them hoes? Bitch, please. You're gonna fall through the cloud as soon as you get off of the elevator that is limbo. Okay. When you get the fuck off that bitch, I hope you fall, and I hope it hurts. I hope you go through an asshole.
All right, I'm
or
gonna
two.
say it.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
I don't care that you broke your elbow.
What a classic vine. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna put that in there tonight. Anyway, but seriously though, like, ooh, I keep getting off topic because I'm just so livid, and I'm pretty sure I'm hangry. I'm pretty sure that's where, and I'm on my red word. So there's a lot going on here. Anyway, but she says he sounds grown. My mother acknowledged my brother's existence with that short sentence, and then she said, I'm so sorry. Let me speak to him. Bitch, I don't raise my hand to no bitches now. But I will today, because what the literal fuck? You think I'm going to let him talk to you after you literally dimmed his shine, after you made him sad? Anyway. And oh, yeah, okay, that's why I was feeling that way. And but I didn't let her, and I hung up, because and then I blocked her fucking number. I don't know what she wanted to say, but I'm afraid she would say something that would damage my brother further. Right. We are currently staying with him for Thanksgiving. My view right now is this. Okay, picture this, okay? You got to close your eyes. Unless you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Make sure your seatbelt's on. Anyway, picture this. My wife and my brother-in-law are sitting on the living room floor trying to assemble an IKEA shelf. My son is beside me watching cartoons and keeps telling my mother and his uncle to shush. My brother is in the kitchen washing dishes. This is the life that people want to see destroyed, taken away, and converted, right? This is a life I am so grateful to have, and it is filled with people that this world is lucky to have on its surface. I haven't told my brother that our mom has called, and I don't want to, and I don't think you should, OP. I don't think there's a point. I just want to spend as much time and energy as I can to love my brother and my family and my small little slice of bliss. This is my heaven. Them sparkly gates. This is a life I will proudly defend against hate and intolerance and bigotry. I'm so lucky to have this life, these people, and this happiness, and I will never stop fighting for it. Pride. Okay, that's why we celebrate, because we all deserve to live, and we all deserve to be free and proud of who we are. Okay, no matter the cost. And too many of our beloved community has fallen. The men in the AIDS crisis, the intersectionality of, the Black trans individual like Marsha P. What about the BIPOC individual, like the Hispanic individual like Sylvia Rivera? Like what about literally the lesbians that stood up, like, and took care of the men in the hospitals and the gay in the AIDS crisis. You know what I'm saying? We have gone too far and lost so many people. I actually just saw somebody talking about, remember my friend Milo? You remember my friend Milo who passed away? My friend took his own life, and he was such a beacon in the TikTok community. I attended the funeral virtually, of course, but I was there. I was spreading information about it to carefully, to so that people wouldn't take over, because he was such a voice, you know what I mean? And we've lost so many, like so many. And it's not okay that we're still losing. And the fact that we're in 2023 and we are going backwards, like the OP said in that story, like the people in his community thought that this was new and revolutionary, when we literally were just talking about it prior to reading the story. You know what I'm saying? History, they say we should learn our history so we don't repeat ourselves, right? It's too late, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to roll back everything that we've ever fought for. They're trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to bring back only signs right now. Like I heard that there's a lady who's I'll have to find out a little more about it. Please do ask me, because I do want to share this information with you. But basically there's a ADH or AHD or something like that, which is a affiliated group. It's a hate group. It's an actual hate group, as deemed so by the Human Rights whatever association. You know what I'm saying? And I just like, they paid a woman essentially, and I don't doubt that this woman believes these things, but they're paying somebody to literally sue the United States so that she can put up homosexuals only, like homosexuals not allowed or some shit in her stores. And you know what, if they say yes, and they are looking at her favorably, allegedly, if they say yes, what else do you think they're gonna fucking put up? No blacks, no gays, no Mexicans, no woke. Like you have to be wearing a 45 thing. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. But it is just the doorway, and they will do the rest. Okay. They say this is new and revolutionary, and it's not. And and I say, and I will only say this, but this is because I'm good friends, or I'm not good friends, but I am mutuals with, Reverend Pop Pop on Tickle Talk. I will be tagging them later because I have a video to make, but they were talking about how they do it in the backwoods, you know what I'm saying? In Appalachia. I think that's how you say it. Please, no one come for me. I'm trying so hard. I've taught y'all so many things today. Teach me one. Okay. But no, seriously, the way that they don't have people educated, the way that people don't have access to power, internet, you know what I'm saying? Because companies don't go out there, you know what I'm saying? The way they don't have the access to do the thing. They don't have smartphones because they don't work and are on Medicaid or something, whatever. I know you can get a free phone, but regardless, for whatever reason, they don't have the access. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a smartphone to do that. They don't have internet to do that. And I'm like saying, it's so fucked up to me that these are the people who are absolutely voting against their own interests because they don't know better. And I say, that's why I'm always willing to teach, because you never know. Much like how Slap said he didn't know about Juneteenth until he went to prison. Much like how I didn't acknowledge me in my Juneteenth until I was damn near an adult. You know what I'm saying? But even though I celebrated, and the fact that I didn't even know, about it until I was well into my adulthood, the education isn't always there. And I always take the approach of I'm going to do my best. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to teach someone if they are willing. So if you come across someone and you just immediately react with, take it with nuance, of course I say, guys, and I'll get off my goddamn soapbox, but you know, if somebody doesn't know, test the waters. If they're willing to talk to you, you might change a mind. You know what I mean? If you don't say anything though, if you remain silent, it's gonna be like this. That shit was new and revolutionary to them when that fucking shit went out of style in 1860s. That's fucking crazy because people don't know their history or they've been shoved or force fed a wrong one. We're here to unlearn that shit, okay? Where even if in 2023 this motherfucker sinking, let's learn as much as we can while we on the ground, bro. It'll be a pretty sweet ride until then. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, all right. I'm pretty sure this is damn near over 2 hours. We'll see. And I'm so sorry, but I had a lot to say, and I hope that y'all had fun with me at this point. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate and love you. Do you have anything to add, my love?
No, I don't want to get on my soapbox
Why not?
because you've said enough. I don't got to repeat what you said. We agree.
Well, if y'all do want Slappa to just go off one day, y'all let him know in the live react and the story times and stuff. All right, guys. I am most likely hangry, and that's probably why I won't shut the fuck up and I keep raging. But also, I am just wishing you guys a wonderful rest of your night. And me and Slap are gonna go get some food, and we're gonna watch some more of that show, Righteous Gemstones, which is wild as fuck. And then also gonna watch some Young Justice because I've been on a real DC kick lately. It's all gonna end. You know where it's gonna end, at Harley Quinn, because that show was amazing. Anyway, all right, guys, I love y'all so very much. I will see y'all next time. We're gonna read a couple long ass fuck stories, and I think we're gonna read 2 stories next week. But we're gonna read 2 long ass stories. And if y'all liked today's format, please do let me know. Of course, it's always, when you do it different, the first episode was the longest because we were trying to figure it out, you know what I mean? And then we kind of found a medium. But of course, next time, if you like this, it won't be nearly 2 hours, whatever, how long it's gonna be. But also, I just want to say thank you. I want to get to 100,000. I love you guys. I see y'all in the Discord all the time. Thanks for letting me be all moody and weird. You know what I'm saying? Join the Discord. We're such good people there. We all we do is fucking win. I'm kidding. No, but seriously, it is a really good community. People will be sharing knowledge in there. People share their days, and the way that I've seen y'all comfort each other is absolutely spectacular. It makes me feel so good. I can't even tell you guys, I'm not gonna cry. But it just makes me feel so good that I was able to bring some people together. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like me for I don't know why. But I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? And I love that y'all want to join me in my quest to be I don't know, fucking happy and just be yourself and feel your feelings, even though I'm constantly apologizing for having feelings. I love it in there, guys. And I love y'all so much for the last time today. Well, maybe later because I got more videos to make. But anyway, I love you guys.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.